Yes, I appreciate that. So, again, thank you guys for showing up, coming through today. My segment is going to be on living benefits and what a lot of people don't know what comes with life insurance when you get a policy, right? So, before I jump into that, today, if you're in the stock market, I'm not sure if you guys are, but if you're in the stock market, there was a huge, like, huge thing about GameStop today, and there's a lot of people buying stocks, billion-dollar companies buying stocks, the everyday person buying stocks. I mean, it was just a huge uproar. I don't even do stocks enough to be able to have the full discussion, but it was more so about the jargon, the back and forth, the money movement. And the reason I'm saying this is because the reason I think life insurance is so important is because it's so simple. It's easily understood once you have that initial conversation. There's so many ways to create wealth. You got real estate, you got businesses, you got stocks, you got all these different ways to create generational wealth, create income, whatever you want to do. However, for me, what I understand is the everyday person doesn't have 5 years to study real estate to become a real estate investor. The average person doesn't have. I see some people that have 20 years of experience in the stock market. No, the average person doesn't have the time to go put 20 years to studying stocks to be an expert in that thing. We have bills to take care of, we have families to take care of, we have ourselves to take care of. We got enough in front of us for the most part that we got to keep our head locked on that. So the thing for me is how do we put something simple in front of people that allows them to have a good quality of life, to create some retirement income, and to create generational wealth. I think at this point, we're over the generational curses. Cassie's mentioned it before. We want to learn about how we can create this for our families and be able to travel the world, do all these different things. So again, for me, life insurance, and I say it every week, isn't the only thing to do to create generational wealth. I think it's the easiest and simplest thing. It's just a conversation, and once you understand a couple of concepts, the ball gets rolling from there. Now, I'm gonna jump into my part, living benefits. When you get an insurance policy, and a lot of us may know, we grew up, we were looking at life insurance. I mean, movies, and we hear about life insurance. People were killing their husbands, killing their wives to get that payout. And really, that's one thing, but they never discussed living benefits that came with life insurance. We only thought about it when it came to debt. And so, what I'm going to talk about for 3 or 4 minutes is about how you can leverage life insurance policy and still have living benefits that comes along with that. So, what does that mean? It's benefits when you're living. I had an opportunity, myself and Flip. We worked with one of the top 10 life insurance companies in the country, I would say, and we had a chance to see from the corporate side, how these life insurance policies were structured. Who's getting these type of policies, the network, the high network people, the everyday person, the super wealthy. We saw all this data for a year, entire year. And so we got a chance to understand his living benefits. And while we were working at this company, there was three different categories that they talked about a lot. And every time an agent sat down with a client, they would go over these three categories. Those three categories are: what happens if you die too soon? Right? Some of us, it's never, like Flip said, it's never if it happens, it's when it's going to happen. What happens if you die too soon? Do you have something in place for coverage? What happens if you become too ill? Do you have something in place? We're young, we're moving, we're vibrant, we're doing our thing every day. But every now and then something may happen. What if you become ill? Are you protected in the event like that? Something happens. And then if you live too long, Social Security is running out. We supposedly won't have it in the next 10 to 15 years. No Social Security, right? We all have jobs. That's a great thing. It's a great source. But is that the only source? What else are we doing? What if we outlive the money that we have saved, the money that we have invested in stocks or real estate or whatever the case may be? So life insurance poses a solution for all three of these categories that are truly something that we should critically think about every day, right? So what are these living benefits? There's four living benefits. I'm going to talk about all four of them, but the last two are going to be kind of grouped together because they're kind of basically roughly the same thing. The first one is terminal illness. If you don't know what terminal illness is, if you get announced that you're going to die from a doctor within 12 to 24 months, you're basically known as terminally ill. So you may have cancer or something like that, and they say, hey, you're gonna check out in 12 months. I'm always a little weird when I say that because we're talking about death, but it's the reality. So that's why I'm always a little weird about when I say that. But you get announced 12 months that you're going to pass away. If you have say for example, you have $100,000 life insurance policy and you become terminally ill, the insurance company, as a living benefit, will front you for the most part, advance you um, about roughly 80 to 95%, whatever that number they come up with, to you. So you may get 85 to $90,000 advanced to you because you were announced terminally ill. That's one of the categories. And in 2020, there was reported 606,000 people from different types of cancer who were terminally ill, right? And that's approximately 39% of men and women are diagnosed with some type of terminal illness. So it's very possible that that could be you. The next living benefit is chronic illness. Chronic illness. And so what that means basically, if you are not able to complete two of the six daily living activities, and those are, if you can't do anything like get up and brush your teeth, cook, walk, drive, basic things like that. If you can't do two of the six daily living activities, the insurance company, if we're using that $100,000 example again, will advance you a portion for 2.5 years on a monthly basis. So they'll take that $90,000 that they're going to advance you, and they'll spread it across a 2.5 year period, paying you for your chronic illness if you have a life insurance policy. So that's that as well. And with that being said, if there was a stat that I was looking up, I'm getting my information here. In 2020, approximately 133 million Americans had chronic disease. That's 40% of people. It's very possible. It's very possible that could happen to you. So something to think about. In the last category, I told you I was going to lump the two together. It's critical illness and critical injury. So if you have a stroke, you're injured on the job, you get cancer, but it's not terminal, but it's it's inhibiting you from moving and doing things like that. You become burned, Lou Gehrig's disease. There's a lot of different conditions that fit under the critical illness and critical injury category. It's very similar to the terminal illness. If you get a critical injury or a critical illness, the insurance company, if we're using the $100,000 example again, will advance you a portion of that as well. And all these things are to do is to allow you to leverage this policy in case something like that happens. So I bring this up because, again, you have this one simple policy that you can do so many different things with, and it also allows you to have a living benefit. The last thing I want to mention is, again, we look at life insurance. A lot of us, and I'm not speaking specifically to this group that we're on now, but in my day-to-day conversations, most people have that negative connotation against life insurance. They really truly think about taking out husbands and wives when it comes to getting this stuff, and truly it's not. It's definitely a way to build generational wealth. It's definitely a way to have living benefits and protection. And I want to answer this other question kind of prematurely. You can have job coverage. There's nothing wrong with job coverage. We always recommend getting private coverage as well. Usually when you leave that job, that coverage does not go along with you. So if you get injured on the job, if you get injured outside of work, you need these things to be protected. And I wanted to just throw that information out as far as living benefits. I appreciate y'all.